This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviet. Tonight we're taking your calls and questions. It's Ask Us Anything night, so you can call in and ask questions on any legal topic, everything from car accidents to medical malpractice. Maybe you've got a question about whether you even need a lawyer, whether you could do it yourself, or what kind of lawyer you need for your particular issue. Maybe how long it's going to take to get your problem solved through the court system. Call in the 31 Law Call number 256-536-0077. You can also email us. You can email us anytime, any day of the week. You send it to lawcall@waytv.com. And when we get to a show that's on point, we pull out some of your questions, and we'll have some of your email questions tonight. Michael Timberlake's here from Timberlake, League & Brooks. Good to have you here.
It's great to be here.
We like to start the show off with a little bit of video. So we've got some video that we pulled from YouTube. You make the law call. Take a look at this. So we see it from the outside first. This is the outside of this accident. Now you're going to see what he ran into from inside a bus. These passengers have no idea. The guy in blue, watching, he barely gets out of the way. Barely gets out of the way. The other passengers didn't even know something was coming. But it turns out that there were no fatalities in this one. It was serious, but no fatalities.
Oh, wow.
When you're looking at something like this, where do you even start? You guys do personal injury cases, so that's automotive accidents, bus crashes, transfer trucks. When you're looking at something like that to figure out what direction to take it legally, what do you see in that? Where do you even start? This video helps, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to say. The first thing that's really remarkable about this situation is that this type of footage, this type of evidence that you could put into court is only been available for the last maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, the first 15 years that I was practicing law, you couldn't get this type of demonstrative video evidence. It would, you could get, grainy video through the screen windows, and it didn't work. But it's amazing the amount of that video that we have or evidence that we can make. In this situation, it's clearly you got somebody that's going too fast, reckless for the conditions, cutting through. Or losing control and then slamming into somebody that's a common carrier. Primarily you're looking at the person that's going to be responsible. But if the bus driver or the bus company, they're a common carrier, so they have a little bit of a higher rate of higher duty to people that are going to be on their in their vehicles, and they have to be trained, and they have a certain level of expertise that's greater than average drivers. So that's really what you would look at. But in this case, it looks like pickup truck lost control and then smashed people.
What's more valuable to your case, the inside video inside the bus or the outside video? Watching that driver?
The outside video is pretty compelling, good, right? Because it shows the speed of the vehicle, but the inside video also shows just the energy that was, in the crash. It was amazing.
Might sway a jury too to see how innocent these folks are. So how do you get a hold of that kind of video and obtain it and hold on to it? So maybe the bus would naturally keep this video, and
sure.
But if you're talking about video from a camera on the street or somebody else's business that just happened to be shooting that video, how do you get the video? How do you make them hold on to it?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest concern that we have is that somebody's going to have video that we can't have, that they won't give us access to immediately, or that it would be recorded over. A lot of these systems have a 36-hour, 48-hour type of loop, because it's not just stored indefinitely. So basically it pays to have someone that you trust that is looking out for your interest to go out there and contact these people, ask them to maintain that video. If you're a witness or if you're a business or something like that, and somebody asks you to maintain the evidence, you got an obligation to maintain the evidence. You can turn it over to both parties, the police officers, whoever.
Can you get in trouble if you don't and you've been asked to keep it?
I mean, the question is, what's your motivation for doing that?
Okay.
But in most of the situations that we deal with, people are going to, you front the cost. You say, look, I'm not trying to charge you anything. I just need access to this video.
Yeah. Okay, we had a caller, Melissa, had questions about squatters' rights. Okay. Everybody's talking about squatters' rights these days. Why is this such a thing? Are you paying attention to that?
Well, from a national perspective, I'm not really sure. Every state's going to have something different.
Yeah. It's not really in Alabama necessarily.
In Alabama, it's really, you've got adverse possession in Alabama is 20 years. So if you're on someone else's property for 20 years, and that the owner knows that you're on the property or should have known that you're on the property, and that you're your being on the property is intended to be permanent, that they know you're trying to take the property, then in that situation you can receive land via adverse possession in Alabama. But other than that, there's not a whole lot to it. If you do, in terms of, possession of the land,
okay.
or title to the land, people have problems with, people that are tenants, and if you allow someone to stay on your property, even if they're not, you're not paying rent, but if you allow somebody to stay on your property with your knowledge, and then you want them to leave, you're probably going to have them evicted pursuant to the laws of eviction, which is a 14-day notice, and tell them to leave the premises. You can't just tell them to leave because they're not paying rent.
There was an interesting story about somebody squatting at the New Yorker Hotel in New York City and then eventually claimed his hotel room was his. Very interesting story. Went through the court systems at a lot of different levels. We've got Rodney on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Rodney. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Is there any legal statute of limitation for medical bills? A lot of times a doctor will hold a medical bill for a year and then bill you for it. Can it go past a year, maybe 5 years?
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, basically, medical bills is a contractual obligation that they've rendered services and you told them you were going to pay it. So typically you're looking at a 6-year period that they have to make the claim if they're going to file it in court. That's, typically the process that you see. And we see it all the time, and what we do is we try to work with the creditors, we try to work with the medical providers that have treated our clients, because basically we're waiting until we can resolve the claim to pay back all the providers. And so sometimes it can be that the providers get impatient or they turn it over to collection agency, but it's a matter of trying to work with them to the best you can, and even just pay a little bit, and sometimes, a lot of times, they'll forgive some of it, or that you can forego going into collections process before 6 years.
So 6 years for contract things,
right.
though. But for car accidents, you don't have nearly that kind of time, right?
No, we've got 2 years from the date of somebody that's injured to file a claim.
Okay.
It's 1 year in Tennessee, so
okay.
you got to move quick.
And that's actually filing a case at the courthouse. It's not just telling somebody,
that's just not
I'm hurt.
Telling the insurance company you want to make a claim, or telling the other person you're going to make a claim. It's got to be filed in the courthouse.
We've got Kathy on the line with a question from Baileyton. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yes, I have been going to a denture provider.
Okay.
It's not a dentist per se, but this business specializes in dentures.
Okay.
And I have had to go so many times over the last year. I still don't have my permanent dentures. In the beginning, I had to go back between 6 and 9 times just to get the temporaries correct.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is every single week. I have spoken to their corporate office, and they even had a woman from the corporate office meet me at one of my appointments. And she proceeded to tell me that they would give me a refund if I wanted to turn in my dentures. But she wanted me to sign a form that said they do not give refunds. And I kept asking her, why would you want me to do that, and why would I sign something saying that?
That seems bizarre, doesn't it? That doesn't seem like what they're really, if they're offering to give you the cash.
Yeah, I mean, basically, a situation like this where somebody offers you a compromise, right?
Yeah.
You're not happy with the service and you deal with them and they say, okay, well, we're willing to do this, but you're going to have to sign this. Typically, the document that they're asking you to sign is a release, and what it says is, in exchange for this amount of money, you're going to release them from any potential liability that they have in this situation. Maybe in a situation like this with the dentist, it's going to be covered by the Medical Liability Act in Alabama, but they're going to ask for you to release them in exchange for that sum of money that they're going to pay you. These medical situations are not necessarily dealt with like a warranty would you have with your car or something like that you're going to get fixed. So just because it doesn't come out exactly right doesn't mean they're automatically responsible. But if they offer you money, they're going to make you sign something saying, that's it, that's all you're going to get.
Okay. Sometimes we have somebody from the Better Business Bureau come on, and it might be something that you could talk over also with the Better Business Bureau. They might be able to help negotiate something there to settle everything.
Absolutely.
Let's take a break. We're going to be right back answering more of your questions. It's Ask Us Anything night tonight. Stay with us.
You're watching WAAY 31 Law Call. Your rights, your calls, live. Presented by the Tennessee Valley's award-winning personal injury and wrongful death law firm, Timberlake, League & Brooks. Featuring the knowledge and experience of Attorney Michael Timberlake, Attorney Will League, Attorney Heath Brooks, Attorney William Maservi. And hosted by broadcaster and family law attorney Sharon Doviet. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back to 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviet. Here with me, Michael Timberlake from Timberlake, League & Brooks. It's Ask Us Anything night, so we're getting questions on every legal front, including Rexine has a question from Fayetteville, Tennessee. Rexine, thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Hello.
Hi.
Another question about dentures.
Okay, bring it.
Okay.
We had Kathy before. Let's see if we can help you.
During the pandemic, we were not allowed to go to the dentist.
Sure.
They told us not to go to the dentist,
Yep.
to the doctors, unless we absolutely have to, because of the pandemic. So I was on, I was on that plan where you pay for the dentures in 18 months, and there's no interest, okay?
Yep.
Because they were quite expensive.
Yes.
And so during the pandemic, I didn't go, So they counted that against me, and they sent me this bill for this over $2,000, and the longer I paid for it, it didn't go down at all. And my question is, do I need to see a lawyer, or they've quit calling me now? I guess they're writing it off. I don't know, but I still don't have dentures. They did pull my teeth, but I look like a Tennessee hillbilly.
Aww.
Can't speak and I can't sing. And if you imagine not having teeth, it's distressing.
Sure. And I'm just afraid if you don't handle it, it's going to keep building interest, and I bet it was a nice hefty interest rate just because they're not asking for it or not calling you. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, you look at the situation, you have to look at the documents and determine, did they provide the services that they were supposed to provide within this time period? Was there an act of nature that was so devastating that it prevented you from going through with what your obligations were under the contract? Have they turned this into a collection agency where they are actually, actively pursuing the amount of money that you still owe them, or are they just basically writing it off, saying, we've taken enough of your money, and then we're not going to provide any additional services? So you're going to really, have to look in that situation. You want to make sure that, if you're contacted by a collection agency, you respond to them and tell them you don't think the debt is valid. But in terms of probably getting what you paid for under the contract, it's probably going to be hard to get the benefit of the bargain. You could spend as much time trying to chase that rabbit down the hole as you might ever expect to collect.
We're sorry, Rexine. I know that's disheartening. We've got Cheryl on the line with a question from Madison. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Hi.
Hi.
My question is concerning my husband.
Okay.
he was hospitalized from having cancer and complications, fractured hips, and lots of complications.
Okay.
And he at the time he just had Medicare Part A. His Medicare Part B didn't come into action until the 1st of February
Okay.
this year. But the bills are coming because he had so many different things done, and all different doctors are sending him these bills.
Yeah.
But he's gone, so what do I do?
Now, you're saying he's gone. Have we lost him? You've lost him,
Yes,
Cheryl?
he's deceased. He's
Okay.
deceased.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I'm
First
sorry.
thing is, very sorry for your loss. I know that's a tragic situation, and we feel for you there. What you really need to understand is that simply because you were the spouse doesn't mean that you are responsible for his debts or his obligations. What you would have to look into in the situation is, if there's a will involved, a will would determine where his assets go. If there is not a will in that situation, then there's the laws of intestate succession in Alabama, and you as the surviving spouse would have, pretty significant rights to compensation under those laws. So really what you're looking at is whether these, people are going to make a claim against an estate, and is it necessary for you to probate his estate? Many times there are assets that can be, designated as, you can be designated as a beneficiary on a house or a retirement account or things like that, so that you don't have to open an estate. So really what you're looking at in this situation is to talk to somebody that handles probate law, handles, estates, to determine whether or not you're going to have to open an estate. His estate, if there are assets in it, would be subject to any claims on these medical providers, and that would be something you'd have to resolve then. But at this point, simply just because you're his wife doesn't mean you have to pay these debts.
Good luck with it, Cheryl, and we are sorry for your loss. We had somebody asking about an event. Turned out a charity event was created. A lot of people donated their time, their effort. They worked for the event, raised money for a charity.
Right.
And then turns out the person did not actually have cancer. This was all made up. Okay. Can you do anything about that? What's it worth doing?
Well, from a civil perspective, you can make a claim for what we call theft by deception. You've basically taken, if you contributed money, time, effort to this, thing that was a fraud, you could potentially make a claim to get your money back or be compensated for what you have paid in. Would that be something that would be, beneficial? Would it be worth it? Would you look at, pursue it in small claims court, that type of thing? The more probably, beneficial thing would be to contact the district attorneys in the office where it came from, because it's fraud. It's criminal fraud. This is the kind of thing that should never happen. People shouldn't do it. And if they do it, they should be prosecuted by it. And it'd be prosecuted criminally. You may get restitution through the criminal process, and that's probably a better right to go.
Seems like we've seen stories of some of those GoFundMe things that turn out not
absolutely.
to be real, and I do think
You want somebody to fund me.
Yeah, so just be honest about what we're funding, right?
Exactly. Just fund me.
Just fund me. We saw the bridge collapse. Everybody's been talking about the bridge collapse this week. Let's talk a little bit about that. Who's going to pay for that? The money it would take to rebuild that bridge. You as a personal injury guy, there are lives lost with this.
Yes.
Where do you even start? Do you start with the barge? Do you start with where do you even start? The construction design of the bridge?
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's a tragedy of immense proportions.
Yes.
And it's a tragedy that you're only going to see, an entity like the federal government, the United States, is going to be able to absorb this. Insurance companies may not be able to absorb this. Shipping companies would not be able to absorb this. You will look at this situation, and surely there'll be indemnity claims, or there will be claims for compensation for people that, God forbid, the people that passed away. Those claims are going to come up. But in terms of the vast amount of money that's going to take to fix this situation, it's going to be very hard. the shipping company would technically be responsible. They're the ones that ran the red light or had a mechanical failure in their vessel. But then are they going to look at who built the motors for their vessel? Why did this fail? You're going to go look at this up the chain. But really the reality is that it's such a huge monumental event that there could be some recoupment, but not a lot.
Not a lot. We've got caller Mike from Huntsville. Hi, Mike. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yeah, I want to know, I had an accident back in February of last year. A woman hit me in the rear end of my car, and the tow truck company come and picked it up. And the insurance never paid for the wreckage where the tow truck company was, and they sold it because the insurance company wouldn't pay them, even though I had full coverage insurance.
Okay. The tow truck company has sold your vehicle, and it's gone now.
Right, and our car, we bought an extended warranty on it when we bought it, and the warranty didn't go in effect till after 100,000 miles, and it only had 78,000 miles on it when the woman hit us.
Wow.
And we've been trying to get our extended warranty money back off of it, and the car lot's telling us no.
What do you think?
I mean, that's going to be another one of those things you look at in terms of the extended warranty, whether you could recoup any money because you didn't meet, that obligation or whatever, it didn't meet that contingency. That's going to be governed by the language in the contract. I would want to say more than likely if the car was totaled before you met that, the contingency was not met. The car didn't get to be 100,000 miles. Therefore, they're not going to have any obligation to reimburse you under the terms of the warranty. But again, you're going to have to look at the paperwork that you signed to determine whether you're going to get anything back. Typically, if you have full coverage insurance on a situation like this, you'll have towing insurance that will pick up the towing cost of the car. If it's a total loss, typically your insurance company, if you have collision coverage, will pay for the towing cost, and then they will move the car to another lot and they'll reimburse you the fair market value of the vehicle. If you only had liability coverage on the car, didn't have collision and towing company, the towing company could take your car, move it to the lot, and they don't get paid. They're going to declare the car to be an abandoned vehicle, and then you'll get notice of that, and then they'll sell the salvage to basically offset their losses. So, it's a difficult situation if you don't have the exact kind of coverage that's necessary to pay for the damages.
Okay. Good luck, Mike. They're telling us to take a break. We'll be right back answering more of your questions. It's Ask Us Anything night. If you didn't get your questions answered tonight, here's how to get in touch with Michael Timberlake with Timberlake, League & Brooks in Huntsville. They are personal injury attorneys, so everything from car accidents to medical malpractice. 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com, and if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way. And I do family law, divorce, child custody, 256-539-7337, SharonFamilyLaw.com. Thanks for all your calls and questions tonight. Have a safe week.
This Thursday through